For as long as humanity has existed, it believed that the universe was everything. All space. All time. All matter. Every star that ever burned. Every galaxy that ever formed. Every moment that ever existed. Was thought to be contained within one vast cosmic structure. The universe. But as knowledge expanded, so did doubt. Because the deeper humanity looked into reality, the more it began to feel incomplete. Even after mastering galaxies, after building structures around stars, after unlocking the secrets of spacetime, something still did not add up. There were patterns. Strange ones. Tiny irregularities in the background radiation of the cosmos. Unexplained fluctuations in quantum fields. Subtle signals that seemed almost intentional. At first, scientists dismissed them as noise. Random artifacts. Natural variations. But as technology advanced, humanity began to observe these anomalies with greater precision. And what it discovered changed everything. Deep space observatories, positioned far beyond the outer regions of the Milky Way, began detecting a signal. It was faint. Almost impossible to notice. But it was consistent. Repeating. Structured. This was not random. This was information. The signal did not come from a star. It did not come from a galaxy. It did not come from any known source within the universe. Its origin was outside. At first, that idea seemed impossible. Outside the universe? There is no outside. By definition, the universe contains everything. But the data did not lie. The signal existed. And it was coming from somewhere beyond the cosmic boundary. Humanity mobilized its greatest minds. Massive computational networks analyzed the signal. Artificial intelligence systems attempted to decode its structure. For years, nothing made sense. Until one day, a pattern emerged. The signal was not just repeating. It was evolving. Responding. Adapting. As if it knew it was being observed. This discovery sent shockwaves across civilization. Because it meant one thing. Whatever was sending the signal was aware. Humanity was no longer alone in existence. But this was not contact across space. This was contact across reality itself. The signal was studied at deeper levels. Encoded within it were mathematical structures far beyond human understanding. Not just advanced, but fundamentally different. The mathematics did not follow the same logical rules as those within our universe. It was as if the signal came from a reality governed by entirely different principles. Some scientists believed this confirmed the existence of the multiverse. But this was something more. Because this was not just another universe. This was communication. Across universes. Humanity decided to respond. Using its most advanced technology, it generated a return signal. A simple message. Mathematics. Patterns. Proof of intelligence. The message was transmitted toward the boundary of the observable universe. And then, humanity waited. Days passed. Then months. Then years. For a long time, nothing happened. Until one moment, everything changed. The signal came back. Stronger. Clearer. And this time, it carried meaning. The decoded message was not a simple response. It was a question. A question so profound that it shook humanity to its core. Are you the creators, or the creation? No one had an answer. Because for the first time, humanity realized something terrifying. It did not fully understand its own origin. Yes, it understood evolution. Yes, it understood the formation of stars. Yes, it understood the Big Bang. but it did not understand why the universe exists. The signal continued. More data followed. More messages. Each one deeper than the last. They did not just communicate information. They revealed knowledge. Knowledge about reality beyond the universe. According to the signal, our universe was not fundamental. It was constructed. Not artificially, but systematically. It was part of a larger structure. A system of realities layered upon each other. Each universe connected to others through deeper dimensions. And at the highest level, there existed entities. Not physical beings. Not organisms. But something else. Something that exists beyond space and time. These entities were described as observers. Not creators in the traditional sense, but participants in a larger process. A process where universes are generated, observed, and evolved. Humanity struggled to understand. Were these entities gods? Or something beyond that concept? The signal clarified one thing. They were not all-powerful. They were not eternal. They were evolving, just like humanity. This revelation changed everything. Because it meant one thing. Even the highest level of existence was still part of a journey. Still growing. Still learning. Humanity continued communication. As exchanges increased, understanding deepened. The signal began teaching humanity how to perceive reality beyond physical limits. New technologies were developed. Not machines, but perception tools. Methods to expand awareness beyond spacetime. Eventually, humanity achieved something extraordinary. It did not send a message. It sent consciousness. A small fragment of collective awareness was projected beyond the boundary. For the first time in history, humanity experienced something outside the universe. There were no stars. No galaxies. No space. No time. Only a vast, infinite field of potential. And within it, presence. Not visible. Not measurable. But undeniable. Humanity had made contact. Directly. And what it discovered was beyond imagination. The entities did not speak. They did not communicate in words. They shared understanding. Instantly. Completely. Humanity realized that existence is not a single universe. Not even a multiverse. It is a hierarchy of realities. Each level more complex than the last. Each level giving rise to the next. And at every level, intelligence emerges. Learns. Grows. And eventually, reaches beyond its own reality. Humanity was now part of that process. Not at the beginning. Not at the end. But somewhere in the middle. A bridge between lower and higher realities. And then came the final message. Not from the signal, but from the entities themselves. A realization placed directly into the collective mind. You are not being contacted. You are being invited. Invited to what? That question echoed across the entire civilization. And the answer came, not as fear, but as possibility. An invitation to step beyond the universe. Not just to observe, but to become part of the next level of existence. To leave behind the limitations of spacetime. To evolve into something beyond physical reality. Humanity stood at the edge of the greatest decision in its history. Remain within the universe. As masters of galaxies. Or step beyond it. Into the unknown. And as it had done since the beginning of time, humanity chose to move forward. Because the journey had never been about reaching a destination. It had always been about crossing the next boundary. And now, The next boundary was everything. Before the world was formed, before humanity existed, there was a realm beyond the stars. A realm of light. A realm of divine order. This was the heavenly kingdom. And within it lived powerful beings known as angels. These angels served God with loyalty and purpose. Among them was one of the most magnificent beings ever created. Lucifer. He was radiant, wise, powerful. But within him, something began to grow. Pride. High voltage, the fall of light. Lucifer began to desire more than his place. He wanted power. He wanted to rise above all others. He wanted to be equal with God. His rebellion spread among other angels. A great division formed in heaven. Loyal angels stood firm. Rebels followed Lucifer. This conflict became the first great war. Cross-swords war in heaven. Leading the armies of light was the archangel Michael. A battle unlike anything imaginable began. Light against darkness. Truth against rebellion. The clash shook the heavens. In the end, Lucifer and his followers were defeated. They were cast out of heaven, falling from glory into darkness. Lucifer became known as Satan. His followers became demons. Globe showing Europe, Africa, a new battlefield, Earth. After their fall, the war did not end. It moved to a new battlefield. Earth. Humanity became part of the story. A creation with free will. Able to choose between good and evil. Demons sought to corrupt. Angels sought to guide. The unseen war continued in silence. Baby angel messengers of light. Angels were sent as protectors and messengers. One of them was Gabriel. He delivered divine messages to humanity, guiding events, strengthening hope, protecting the faithful. Though unseen, their presence shaped history. Fire forces of darkness. Meanwhile, darkness worked in secret. Satan sought to turn humanity away from truth. Through temptation, through deception, through fear. The battle was not always visible, but its effects were everywhere. Every choice, every struggle, every moment of doubt. Latin cross, the turning point. The arrival of Jesus marked a turning point in this cosmic conflict. His teachings challenged darkness. His actions brought light. His sacrifice became a symbol of victory over evil. Through him, the balance of the battle began to shift. Globe showing Europe, Africa, the ongoing war. The conflict between angels and demons continues throughout human history. It is not always seen with eyes, but it is felt. In moments of temptation, in acts of courage, in the struggle between right and wrong. Every human life becomes part of this unseen war. High voltage, the final battle. According to the vision described in the book of Revelation, this conflict will one day reach its climax. A final confrontation. Good against evil. Light against darkness. The forces of heaven will stand united. The powers of darkness will rise for one last battle. But their defeat is already foretold. Sunrise, victory of light. In the end, darkness will not prevail. Truth will overcome deception. Light will overcome shadow. The victory of good will be complete. And peace will be restored. Sparkles the eternal message. The story of angels and demons is more than a battle. It is a reflection of the choices within every human heart. Between hope and despair. Between truth and illusion. Between light and darkness. The war may be cosmic, but the decision is personal. From the beginning of time to the rise of nations. From deserts to palaces, from slavery to kingship. The Bible is filled with heroes. Not perfect people, but chosen people. Ordinary lives. used for extraordinary purposes. This is their story. The beginning faith of Abraham. In a time when nations worshipped many gods, one man was called to walk a different path. His name was Abraham. God asked him to leave his homeland and travel to an unknown land. With no map, no certainty, only faith, Abraham obeyed. Years passed. Promises seemed delayed. Yet Abraham never gave up. He believed even when the future looked impossible. And through him, a great nation was promised. Camel, the test of sacrifice. One day Abraham faced the ultimate test. He was asked to sacrifice his beloved son Isaac. A moment filled with pain and confusion. Yet Abraham trusted. At the final moment, the sacrifice was stopped. It was a test of faith. And Abraham passed. Water waved the deliverer, Moses. Generations later, Abraham's descendants became slaves in Egypt. Their cries rose to heaven. And God chose a man to deliver them. His name was Moses. Once a prince, now a shepherd. Moses was called to confront the power of Egypt. Through miracles and signs, he led the people to freedom. The sea parted. A nation walked through. Freedom was born. Desert, the wilderness journey. But freedom was only the beginning. The people wandered in the desert, facing hunger, thirst, doubt. Yet through it all, they were guided. Cloud by day, fire by night. The journey shaped them into a nation. Crowned the rise of a king, David. Years later, a shepherd boy rose to greatness. His name was David. He faced a giant named Goliath. Armed with only a sling and faith, he defeated him. David became king. A warrior. A poet. A leader. Yet even he faced failure. And through repentance, he found redemption. Classical building wisdom and glory, Solomon. After David came his son Solomon. A king known for wisdom beyond measure. He built a magnificent temple. A symbol of divine presence. His kingdom flourished with wealth and peace. But even wisdom requires humility. And Solomon's story reminds us of the dangers of losing focus. Fire, courage in exile, Daniel. When kingdoms fell and people were taken into exile, new heroes rose. One of them was Daniel. He remained faithful even in a foreign land. When ordered to stop praying, he refused. As punishment, he was thrown into a den of lions. But the lions did not harm him. Faith protected him. Crowned courage of a Queen Esther. In a foreign empire, a young woman became queen. Her name was Esther. She risked her life to save her people from destruction. Standing before a king without invitation could mean death. But she stood anyway. Her courage saved a nation. Latin crossed the ultimate hero, Jesus. Then came the central figure of the entire story. Jesus. He taught love over hatred. Forgiveness over revenge. Hope over fear. He healed the sick. Helped the poor. Guided the lost. Yet his path led to sacrifice. A cross. A moment of darkness. But it did not end there. Sunrise, the victory of resurrection. After death came life. The resurrection became a symbol of victory. Not just for one life, but for all humanity. A message that hope never truly dies. Globe showing Europe, Africa, the messengers, the apostles. After Jesus, his followers carried the message forward. Among them was Paul the Apostle. Once a persecutor, he became a preacher. Traveling across nations. Facing danger. Spreading a message that would change the world. Sparkles, the legacy of heroes. These heroes were not perfect. They doubted. They struggled. They failed. But they kept going. Their strength was not in perfection, but in faith. From Abraham to Paul the Apostle, their stories form one powerful message. Faith can move mountains. Courage can change history. And even ordinary people can become part of an extraordinary story. Glowing Star, the Eternal Message. The story of Bible heroes is not just history. It is inspiration. A reminder that every life has purpose. Every struggle has meaning. And every choice matters. In the beginning, before time, before stars, before life, there was only God. Then came creation. As written in the book of Genesis, the universe was formed. Light broke through darkness. Oceans separated from land. The sky stretched wide. Animals filled the earth. And finally, humanity was created. The first humans, Adam and Eve, lived in harmony. But one choice changed everything. Temptation entered. Disobedience followed. And humanity fell. Water waved judgment and mercy. As generations passed, corruption filled the earth. Violence spread everywhere. Then came a great judgment. The flood. A man named Noah was chosen. He built an ark. Saved his family. Preserved life. After the waters receded, hope began again. Globe showing Europe, Africa, a promise begins. From among the nations, one man was called Abraham. He was promised descendants as countless as the stars. Through him, a great story would unfold. His son Isaac and grandson Jacob carried the promise forward. Camel from dreams to destiny. Jacob's son, Joseph, was betrayed by his brothers. Sold into slavery. Thrown into prison. But his journey led to power in Egypt. He saved nations during famine. And his family reunited. Water wave freedom from slavery. Generations later, Joseph's people became slaves. Then rose a deliverer. Moses. Through miracles, he led them out of Egypt. The sea parted. Freedom was born. The law was given. A nation formed. Desert kings and kingdoms. After years of struggle, kings ruled the people. First came Saul. Then the great King David. A warrior and poet. Followed by Solomon, who built a glorious temple. But over time, the kingdom divided. Conflicts rose. Faith weakened. Fire prophets and warnings. God sent prophets to guide the people. Among them were Elijah, Isaiah, Jeremiah. They warned of consequences. But many ignored them. Eventually, kingdoms fell. People were taken into exile. Classical building exile and return. In foreign lands, faith was tested. Heroes like Daniel stood strong. Later, the people returned. They rebuilt their city. Rebuilt their temple. And waited. Waiting for a promised Savior. Sparkles the arrival of hope. Then, in the town of Bethlehem, a child was born. Jesus. His life changed everything. He taught love. He healed. He forgave. He challenged injustice. Latin cross sacrifice and redemption. Jesus was rejected. Arrested. Crucified. But death was not the end. He rose again. Victory over death. A message of hope for all humanity. Globe showing Europe, Africa, the message spreads. His followers carried the message forward. Leaders like Peter and Paul the Apostle spread the faith across nations. Churches formed. Communities grew. The message reached the world. Milky Way, the final vision. In the last book, the book of Revelation, a vision of the future appears. A final battle. A final victory. A new creation. A new heaven and new earth. Where pain ends. Where peace begins. sparkles the eternal story. From creation to fall to redemption to restoration, the Bible tells one continuous story. A story of hope. A story of faith. A story that continues shaping humanity even today.